trying to get suspect due us now. Incident is 916.
2032, I'm still in the area. Can you show me around 1011?
Any use of break for 211 armed occurred at 6200 Seminary on 28 X-ray. The 211 armed. Details are coming pretty slow.
3029. I'll be 9 RT.
So you guys had a really long night. Pace yourselves, do the best you can with it. Take care, Richard. I'll see you guys out there.
It's a very difficult time in this country to be a police officer.
This is the fourth shooting in 2 months by the Oakland Police Department of black men.
We don't know the story. Don't nobody know the story. What happened? What's going on?
I've got bad information that's out there, and it's causing anger, which is leading to the protest that we saw.
A major metropolitan police department facing a prostitution scandal.
The department had already been under federal monitoring for allegations of evidence tampering and brutality, and the city has one of the highest crime rates in the country.
We want you to help us to fix this community, to fix the system.
Where is the trust? There's no relationship without trust.
Units real quick, 15 of those 11, both suspects were armed. Moving at incident 916, 1961 Town Square.
Yeah, 2 out of 34 is going to be en route to relieve 1031 on incident 295.
This police department has a history that we have to own up to. It's our legacy.
Of community groups is calling for greater accountability.
Members of the public and city officials are fast losing faith.
This department is starting to feel to a lot of people like a house of cards.
We recognize that even the suspicion of misconduct can damage the trust that we have worked so hard to rebuild in this community.
Doors open before we go out. I don't know who we are.
All right, guys, it's been a fun ride. I love every single one of you guys, and now it's journey begins. Let's go to prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before your presence this morning. We thank you for giving us another day of life. Yes. We thank you for all your blessings, for allowing us to be in the 170th Academy. Yes. And I pray your angels will go with us, that they will ride next to us, that you would keep us safe, yes, along with the entire department. Yes. Lord, I pray for our families, Lord, wives, husbands, children, Lord. And I thank you. Let us enjoy this day. This is our day, and we thank you. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen. Amen.
All right, listen up. Yeah, who are we? 170! Who are we? 170! Now here we go! 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 Who are we? Who are we? 170! 170! Who are we? Who are we? OPD! OPD!
High value, high character, integrity. All of these things we want in each one of you. And that's why you're here. Each one of you has those things today. You have those things today. Now, all of you came in here for the right reason. You all wanted to join the Oakland Police Department to do the right thing, right? You all want to help make Oakland safer, right? And everybody that sat in the seats before you felt the same way. Now, on day one, when you hit the streets, things are going to get a little bit different.
The badge you now wear on your chest is a symbol of the public's trust. The actions of a single police officer, on or off duty, anywhere in the country reflect on all of us. We must conduct ourselves ethically at all times in order to remain worthy of the public's trust.
Now, that's an enormous amount of responsibility, but that's just the reality that we work in. And you have to understand that. When you see this right here, what does this mean? That people gonna walk up to you and do like this? Why do people do that? Why do people do that?
Our graduates are entering into a profession in the throes of change, joining a police department that is in an unyielding pursuit of community trust, committed to realizing our collective vision of a healthy Oakland that fosters the best.
The minute you put that uniform on, you represent all of us. So today, if Jenkins tells a citizen, you're an asshole, that means tomorrow when Wilson comes, what are they gonna think, right? They're gonna think Wilson is just as unprofessional as Jenkins was, right? What are they gonna expect from you? They're gonna expect for you to respond just like she did, right? So your behavior has an impact on all of us. That you might think, oh, I'm just a lowly police officer. Until you do something wrong, then you're the YouTube sensation. One police officer can affect the credibility of a department, of a city. One police officer can have an impact on this whole country.
Confrontation that murdered 18-year-old Michael Brown. The decision had been long awaited in this predominantly black suburb of St. Louis.
We will try to facilitate protests today to the best of our ability, but what we will not tolerate is massive destruction downtown, and we certainly will not tolerate assaults on our staff.
And just hope that even in some of the negative expressions that might come out tonight, that we might continue to embrace this reality that it is not representative, and I believe we know this, of all of the community. We want to work together to see the city that we all want to live in.
But is the plan to arrest them or cite them? I don't know, but I mean, how do we cite those people out? That's going to be a mess. Hold on, Freddie's calling me. I'm going to find out what's up with that murder out east. I'll call you back. Hey, what happened out there?
We looked at his body when his clothes was off. Not a lot of gang tats that we could really recognize. So, but there's no doubt it was a hit.
Oh yeah, clearly.
It was a hit. Right now,
how many rounds fired?
Right now, it's up to 12 casings. Yeah, right up close and personal. We got a good description on the car too. Right up at the store here, we're looking for cameras up there. We get some cameras up there. We're looking at the video to see if we can see the car.
So that puts it at 74 for the year.
904, 81, 82.
We have some close sensors that are north of Broadway Terrace on Broadway.
Everything I talked about in the classroom, panic, fear, and anxiety, this is it right here. You got to defeat it. Your mindset, you are worried, you have to survive. You don't have the right to panic. You don't have that luxury. You get one chance to get it right. Panicking under pressure will get you dead. That's what will get you. It'll get somebody else hurt. When your partner's hurt, a citizen hurt. You don't have the right to panic. Pull it together. Let's go. Last but not least.
DOT lawyer, 9292.
There you go. Come on. Clear it. Breathe. You gotta breathe. No. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Exhale. Exhale.
He was holding him. He was telling him to breathe and everything.
He just freaked out and grabbed the door.
Just turned around and
he didn't get his mask back on. He was just standing there without a mask on.
Mindset.
Oh.
Here, they didn't know they were coming.
It's just my
So you know you're gonna have to go again, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was rough, dude.
Devin, any update? I'll be pulling up in about a minute.
27, he's GOA on Foothillsburg High Street in the Chrysler 300. Actually, now they say he's back on scene. He's back on scene now.
Copy, pulling up.
904, School 33.
Hey, where's he at? Where is he? What's going on? Okay, go over there. What's going on? Why don't you go stand over there? Is it him? Who called? Who called? 27, westbound Foothill, code 33. Hey, he's running right at you, whoever's coming towards me. Right there. Don't move! Don't move! Don't move! Do not move!
You can turn that way from me. I have.
To get a photograph. Two sides of it.
So I guess it's all over a tired. He goes up to them and pushes one guy, and then another guy he shoves back, tries running off with the rim or whatever, and then they kind of grab it and he takes off running. Then he comes back, and that's when I pull up.
Okay, so do you want to walk me through really quickly?
Yeah, so I pull up on scene.
Okay.
The guy kind of walks up to me all chilly, like, hey, you know, they took my rim or something like that. Okay. And I was like, all right, talk to you 1 second. I look over at them, I'm like, hey, who called? Is it him? Who called? Who called? 27, westbound Foothill, code 33, male white, long hair, gray hoodie, blue jeans, black shoes. Takes off running, runs through the parking lot, runs eastbound, runs across the street like he's gonna run southbound 36 or 35. Sees a car coming up, then bounces back this way, jumps to the fence right where the ambulance was. Okay. I pulled out my taser. 27, I got a taser deployment. I was gonna try to tase him while he was jumping the fence, but he jumped over the fence too quick, so I kind of hopped up onto the fence and then kind of shot down at him. Okay. He's saying that he didn't get tased. He refused medical, but we're still gonna transport him to get cleared anyway.
Sounds good, and I already got photographs of him.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got photographs of a few little scuffs he had, but I didn't see anything, and he didn't say anything about the probes hitting him. So, okay, so I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna photo the overall scene, pick your stuff up, come back, get your victim, and then do
you want me to leave my taser on the floor where I...
Yeah, whatever's down there, just leave it there. Okay? Good? Okay.
49th Avenue.
1051 in custody, car pulls right over, you point a firearm at the driver, get out of the car, take him into custody. You just had a use of force. You pointed a firearm at somebody. You had a use of force. You got to justify why it is you pointed a firearm at somebody. You have to complete a use of force report. They don't show you this on the recruiting poster. You go into recruiting and they've got the motorcycle and the helicopter and all the cool stuff. They do not show you somebody sitting for hours on end in the report writing room, writing stuff down. It's not the sexy side of the job, but it really is important. And it's absolutely in line with what the national discussion is right now. Police departments are having to document why they do the things that they do, and rightfully so. Remember, we are the government. The nation was founded on the fundamental belief of a mistrust in government. That's where the Bill of Rights comes from. It's at the core of the foundation of this nation is a mistrust of government. And we are the most visible sign of that government. You drive around in a black and white car with flashing lights on it and you wear a uniform with a bright star. We give you tremendous authority and a gun. It's not unreasonable for people to expect you to be explained why you do the things that you do. But in the context of a lawsuit alleging civil rights violations, where it was alleged that we were stopping people for no reason, searching them for no reason, sometimes taking them to jail for no reason or made up reasons, you understand why there's the level of scrutiny that there is. Related to that, you are required to report misconduct. I don't want bad cops here, period. I don't need them. So this is your blue wall of silence bullshit that people talk about. We don't have a blue wall of silence. No more. Doesn't exist anymore. You are required to report Class 1 misconduct. Everything's either Class 1 or Class 2. Class 1 are the serious offenses. That's your planting evidence, excessive force, lying in a police report, sexual harassment, discrimination. Failure to report Class 1 misconduct is in and of itself a Class 1 misconduct. Okay? You are required to report misconduct. How can people trust the police department if we got people out doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing? I don't need them. They can go. So much of what we do here is affected by our relationship with the community.
I just heard the 6 shots and I called as soon as it was over, so just a few...
Well, I have to lock my door because I don't want them in here. They're threatening all of us. My grandma's here, my son is here.
Okay,
shots fired in your 19th
okay, what's going on at 62nd and International?
Nothing now. Y'all too late.
Hi, this is the Oakland Police Department. Somebody dialed 911. Is there an emergency there? I'm sorry, 85th and East 14th. Is this a payphone? It is. Is he out there alone? And do you see any...
I ain't never bad no ride no individual like I saw, not now.
Because it's so late and we do have quite a few calls standing, I think it's going to be a bit longer for the wait.
904 and 233.
This is gonna make me worse. I put up with this my whole life.
And I'm trying to call my brother and say, come down here, because I don't know what he gonna do to me or to her.
The vehicle, but I don't have a DOS. So looks like the two victims will be there on scene for contact.
Okay, take a deep breath. Okay, he put you in the car. All right, I'm gonna stay on the phone with you, okay? We're gonna get an officer to you. They're trying to get one free now. I just wanna make sure that they can find you.
The mission tonight is to arrest those individuals who are in violation of prostitution-related offenses, but most importantly, to rescue those victims of human trafficking.
So we have citizens for you to help you out. Need more help, okay?
Yo lo que hice fue que levanté las manos para que no lastimara a la niña. Amenazó a la niña, pues.
He started threatening the girl. He pointed at her, gunpoint.
Outside with the girl.
No.
They fled eastbound towards seminary and a civilian incident.
So you're not working the OT this week?
I don't know. I'm exhausted.
Dude, I'm trying to sign up, man, to do the Raiders game. So Raiders before.
Dude, okay, what if it's a night like yesterday?
But your short week, though, so short week.
Still, though, what if it's a night like yesterday? Dude, I didn't get off till 5. Bro, I slept through all my alarm clocks. I woke up late, and I was hella mad. I was like half asleep driving in.
I'm taking off the earpiece.
All right, well, I'm gonna go tight, man. Gotta go. I'll see you guys in the next.
See you in a couple hours.
No weapons seen. Looks like they're going to be outside of the residence.
Everyone in here knows we don't have enough police. Like, no one in here doesn't acknowledge that. But share with us what we can expect so that we know how to then respond and support you. Because we do call and then we don't get responses. People do report and then there's nothing that happens, so then that makes them stop. And that's what we're trying to get the community not to do.
Yeah, no, that is by far the number one complaint for the Oakland Police Department is response time, and rightfully so. We've had a lot of vacancies in patrol, and we fill those on an overtime basis. But, I mean, you're looking at it, I mean, we've had major reductions in burglaries the last several years, particularly residential burglaries are way down from what they used to be. Residential burglaries, way down.
Well, where were they when they broke in my house? I called screaming and crying. You know what they asked? They asked me, anybody in there? Well, I'm gonna go in the house and see if anybody in there. Then you gonna tell me, oh, we can't get nobody out there for 3 days. What they do? They came and broke in the next neighbor house because they know you're not coming out there.
Right. Well, all right, so I mean, that's the reality of the situation, is that the guys out here, particularly on the swing shift, will literally go call to call for their entire 12-hour shift every day, never getting a lunch break in the process. I mean, every single day, and never even come close to answering all the calls that are standing. It absolutely has been the case since I was a beat cop. It hasn't changed now. We are trying to address that. I mean, is it good enough? No, of course it's not good enough. Should you be satisfied? No, you shouldn't be satisfied. Absolutely not. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you that do we provide the level of service that we want to provide? No. The level of service that you deserve? No. But we do the best that we can, and we ask a whole lot from those officers.
But your best ain't good enough.
Ma'am, I apologize for that.
That ain't gonna bring my stuff back.
No, it's not gonna bring your stuff back, but at this point, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to give you a false promise. I don't want to say that it'll never happen again. The last thing I want to do is come in here and lie to you. I want to be very genuine about it. I completely admit that we need to do a better job, no doubt. And we are trying to do a better job. But our priority is violent crime. I mean, top priority is protecting people's lives, saving human lives. And so, I mean, we take some flack for that sometimes, and not so much here. I take flack for that sometimes in the hills and other places where people are very concerned about the occasional car break-in or something. And granted, I mean, that's not a good thing by any stretch, but I can't prioritize somebody's broken car window over somebody getting killed on our streets.
So basically what we're looking at right now, it's a stabbing scene. We have full names on both, working on getting photos. And then we've got Basically, this is right in front of 87.
Where's she at? Where was she? Yeah, just finished giving this guy a statement. Hey, Joe.
2005 Suzuki motorcycle BL 800 with chrome pipes.
Yeah. Can you make sure they don't let that girl go? I know she was trying to leave.
All right.
She saw the whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
The dude is taking a statement from her, but I just don't want her to leave without homicide talking to her.
Yes.
And then I'll talk to the other girl.
Your response system ain't fast enough. Okay, put on there that your response. No, you need to let them know. No, for real. If it just came out your mouth, you said that half of y'all didn't even get the call. So that exactly. So you need to put that in there. That's actually somebody went and got the police. That's what happened. Somebody went and got the police.
So do everybody that's... So that's your daughter? She can't go to the store. Nah, you can't go to the store right now. Nah, what you need to go with you.
He said y'all can't go right now. It's a crime scene. You can't leave right now. What you need?
Dude, it ain't no cops showed up to this, dude. Well, the canvas needs to be done all over here, but some of these people need to have statements taken from them as well. Hey, Joe, I got some people coming from my squad. How you doing? Were you guys out here today when this happened?
Nah.
Damn, this guy like I killed the man. Shit.
No, we don't think that you killed him.
I gotta go. Time is ticking.
All right, so when people die, right, it's not just like a regular thing.
Yeah, you understand?
So you have to.
The case.
Everybody out here knows who did it.
I get why y'all want this.
Listen to me though. Like, why are you acting like that? Like you got a warrant? We don't even give a shit. She just trying to.
Clear. All I'm trying to figure out.
He just want to say that you wasn't.
Statement from me and I wasn't here.
Because you were here when we got here, and while you're on the scene, you have to give a statement saying, "Listen." Yes, that's why I called for more cops to come. Okay. And so all your statement has to say is, "I wasn't here. I didn't see shit."
Okay, cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
We good?
We good. I just want to go. I gotta be to school at 3 o'clock. You're holding me up. I just want to go. That's why I'm trying to get my keys so I can go.
We ain't messing with nobody.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
My name's Libby Schaff. Today is my first official day as the mayor of the city of Oakland. Thank you. Thank you for coming here to serve this incredible city. I just came to say that I have your backs. You all are here and doing this at a pretty interesting time in our nation's history. And so I hope that you are excited about being part of a change, a transformation, where I am incredibly hopeful and confident that we can be a city that gets this right and creates a lot more understanding between law enforcement and the community. We need each and every one of you to get out on the streets and make this city safer. This department is stressed. It works too hard, and that's because it does not have enough officers on the street. I said I will have your back. That does not mean that I will put up with mess, that I will put up with inappropriate behavior. My expectations obviously are very high. But I really respect law enforcement. I really respect the career that you have chosen. It's the highest calling. It's a career of incredible sacrifice. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all at your graduation. All right, thanks.
Il y aura les deux solutions avec le tapis aussi. OK.
Hello, Chief.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Hi, thanks. People talk about, oh, it's the new Oakland Police Department. It's the new this, it's the new that. Things are very, very He has to different. talk about it. And he will talk about that.
Parce qu'il n'y a rien qui évoque un peu la police, tu vois ce que je veux dire?
So we do a story of the way that your new approach of training and policing, and see the results, and it's kind of new compared to other police departments.
Yeah, we're a little ahead of a few people.
And we still have more work to do. We still have the road to go. This is not over. And we
as a department and we as a city understand that. But we've made some.
So are you still under federal oversight?
Yes.
Yeah. And so now you've done a lot of progress.
we're really down to just a couple of things, and we're about to finish that up. So getting close.
But does our community feel like we are a change department?
Yeah,
does our community,
point of view,
right? Do they trust
the way
us?
They see you,
Not everybody's always going to trust the police, but is there a different relationship?
I think in many ways we are an example of how you can really change. I mean, it's a police department that had a reputation for being very aggressive and having a lot of problems with the community, and that is absolutely changing, and we're proud of that. And we believe the body-worn cameras is a big part of that. I think that cops behave better, but I also think the people that are being filmed behave better. So I think it has a civilizing effect on both ends of the camera.
Did you obtain some results?
Well, we have not had a fatal officer-involved shooting in 2 years. Historically, we average about 8 officer-involved shootings a year. Not all fatal, but 8 shootings a year. In 2014, we didn't have any at all. We've seen those very high-level uses of force come down, but we've also seen lower-level uses of force come
Bavure
down.
inexcusable aux yeux du patron de la police d'Auckland qui veut changer ses méthodes, héritées d'après lui de l'époque.
I think that the Black Panthers raised a very significant issue, and that was the brutality of the police when they came into the black community.
Today, there is a whole new relationship developing between the people of Oakland's ghettos and the police. Police officials hold regular meetings in the community, and they are well received.
This is one of the greatest things I've seen in Oakland in my 30 years here. I never thought I'd see today. Back in 47, 48, I could see policemen come and sit down and let you criticize you.
It's our responsibility to get out in that community, and we'll be here if you want us. And I'm here, quite frankly, to assure you that those men that you see sitting here and the men that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the Oakland Police Department will be striving to achieve a goal that they're going to take a humanistic approach to policing. I want to see every citizen treated with dignity.
That was 40 years ago. 40 years ago, they were talking about treating people with dignity and respect. They were talking about that 40 years ago. So I was born and raised in Oakland. I was born and raised in West Oakland, right there where the Black Panthers started. And so in my community, you know, it wasn't, police officers wasn't viewed as something positive in the community, right? We were raised to stay as far away from them as you can, right? We used to run from the police just because we would see them. Right? We'd just be like, oh my God, they're gonna do something to us, let's run, right? This is how you were raised. This is what you were told. That's based on the history of this city. That's based on the experiences of Black people in this city.
The emergence of policing in the South initially were slave patrols to chase down runaway slaves, to keep Black folks in line. You come through the period, even out of that, into the time of the emergence of the Jim Crow system and lynching. Oftentimes, police were dispatched to lynchings to keep them civil. We come even down further through that period, and you come into segregation, where police were used to actually bring out the canine units and sick them on protesters who were trying to fight for their rights.
When the incident happened in Ferguson, the city of Oakland, we had protests for weeks upon weeks. They protested longer in Oakland than they did in Ferguson. That's based on the history of this city. That's based on the experiences of people in this city. This community has had instances that they can point to that affects the way they view you. Not you as an individual, but you in that police uniform. The Oakland Police Department has a history that's been contentious with this community.
Although some of us might say, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Man, all that stuff was hella a long time ago. But what I'm lifting up is the past stole your identity and ran up an incredibly high bill. And so many of us might show up in the story and be like, it's all BS. These folks complaining about stuff. These folks just making a mountain out of a molehill. But the past stole your identity, and it has run up an incredibly high bill. And everything that we do is either going to help run that bill up, or it's going to bring that bill down.
This is the fourth shooting in 2 months by the Oakland Police Department of black men. I know we're tired, but we're gonna open this space by pouring libation. It's our African tradition of honoring our ancestors, connecting us back to the earth. And y'all gonna have to forgive me. I'm a little raw today. So we pour libation for our ancestral fathers. Ashe. We pour libation for our ancestral mothers. Ashe. We pour libation for all of the stolen lives. Ashe. Specifically, we call out the names of Oscar Grant, Ashe. Alan Bluford, Yvette Henderson, George Jackson, Natasha McKenna, Sandra Bland, Nate Wilkes, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Today, we trying to figure out how to hold these cops accountable, how to make them do their job the way that we, as the people, feel that they should be doing their job. They should respect every human being. It was all love with him. He was full of life, full of love, full of passion. And I speak for my sister when I say she appreciates it, she feels the love. It's a little bit hard for her to talk right now, as any of you could imagine. So, thank you again. We appreciate the love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of the deadly incident that began at 69th and International. Police say that's where an officer tried to stop a car that was involved in a July armed robbery.
They say he led them on a car chase, then attempted a carjacking before leading officers on another chase, this time on foot.
And 3 officers confronted him, ordering him to drop his gun.
Police say officers opened fire when he advanced towards them while holding a pistol in his hand.
That's a critical part of this process, is to beat back the state's narrative about how we died, because they're usually not telling the truth. And so they knew that this is 2 in a week. They knew that we were going to be in these streets, and so they are actively working to shut us down. They are actively working to discredit us.
Demonstrators have already announced that they're going to have a march tonight in response to this, saying this is just another shooting in what they think is a pattern of this kind of thing by Oakland police. What would you say to them and to the public that might be doubting whether this was in any way justified?
Well, at this point, we haven't decided if it was justified or not, right? The investigation does take a period of time. We have a very good sense of what happened due to the body-worn cameras. But we have had more officer-involved shootings than we had last year, certainly, and that's very unfortunate. But many of these have involved armed people, and several of them have actually resulted in injuries to officers. So it's a very dangerous profession. These things do happen.
Running away from the police is actually a logical reaction. It's a rational reaction. I would even argue it's self-preservation, right? That still doesn't mean you get to shoot him in the back.
Police say the coroner's preliminary autopsy report shows Wilkes was shot in the front of the body But those who knew Wilkes don't believe it and want proof.
We want the chest cam video. We want to get a second autopsy. We want this to stop.
Keith, how challenging is it in this environment where, we're out there today, there's a lot of hostility, John saw it, where there are a lot of people there who just assume everything is unjustified. I mean, are you training around that? Is there some second guessing going on? Are you concerned that there could be second?
I think it is something that's on the mind of police officers. They know they're going to be second guessed, but it's a very difficult time in this country to be a police officer. But we provide a lot of training to our officers, and I think that day in and day out they do an amazing job here.
All right, got a thanks.
That concludes our portion of the press conference. We will send out an updated release with the information discussed here.
So I'm going to show you a video of what happened in Modesto a few years ago. You're going to see the dash cam video for the officer. So the sound will kick in here pretty soon. So this is the officer now seeing him pull into his driveway.
Hands up! Hands up, Ernie! Don't you move! Ernie, don't you move! I will shoot you! Hands up! Now! Drop the knife now! Shot fired! Shot fired! On the ground now! On the ground! Get back now! Suspect armed with a knife. Take control.
All right, you need me to rewind it?
Look how many commands he gives. Look at him.
Wait.
Look at him. He's still trying to do something right now.
He's trying to radio and then shoot another one in his back.
If you're shot 13, 20 times or whatever. And again, we don't shoot to kill, we shoot to neutralize the threat.
And that's what he did.
If he had a knife and he's on the ground gasping for air facing away from the officer, isn't that threat neutralized?
That's all that was recovered and that we know of now. At the time,
come on, you have to give me at least that you see the difference between shooting someone once and 13 times. You know, we've had
I don't know if I'm
classes.
right, but honestly, I don't see nothing wrong. I
You don't
felt
see a difference between one shot
that was
and
necessary. I felt that was necessary.
If I get my baton out, I hit you in the head with it once. Can I just as well hit you 12 more times?
But I just don't like that. It sounds like when people are like, why did the officer have to do that so many times? Why did the officer have to do that so many times? I think as much as the officer needs to neutralize the threat.
Okay, so
The reason why I show all these controversial things in this academy, I want you to make a lot of mistakes in this room, a lot of them. I just want it to happen in this room versus when you graduate and hit the street.
Why is he moving so fast? Why does he have a weapon? What do you think he's doing with that knife? He's giving commands the whole time, saying, hey, don't move, don't get out, don't try to run away, don't flee, don't do that. Stop. The guy's still moving. He doesn't know if he's neutralized or not.
I'm with you, man. I'm not getting stabbed. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not getting stabbed.
I'm not getting stabbed. I want to go home at the end of my shift to my family. The reason why I say that is because he's moving. What if he's grabbing a gun and shooting? You don't think someone could shoot you from the ground?
That's not what I said. He has a knife, not a gun. He said drop the knife.
Listen, you don't know what he had. He has the search stuff.
You don't know if he's on drugs or not. How many rounds does it take to stop somebody on drugs? My point is, we fire pea shooters. 13 shots may not stop somebody. You don't know that. He's squirming on the ground. He might be reaching for something else. You don't know that.
Wait, he's injured. Now I say, if he starts making up.
So you're going to go, okay, and Index assess,
Okay, and this is that.
No, I'm gonna shoot him until he has a knife. The guy can't roll over with a knife and kill me.
You could have thrown it at him.
We invited you here this morning to view this video because both of the two incidents that you watched unfortunately have gathered a fair amount of misinformation has been put out there. We're trying to fix a local problem. Locally here, I've got bad information that's out there, and it's causing anger, which is leading to the protest kind of stuff that we saw. So that's what I'm trying to correct.
So by showing the video, what do you want us to take away from that?
Well, I guess what I would hope is that some of the misinformation, there was said that he was shot in the back or was down on the ground at the time he was shot, various things that we've seen play out on social media and from some witnesses that various news media talked to said things that clearly did not happen.
Black hoodies, that's either a red t-shirt and blue jeans. I got eyes on him. He's wedged in here. Hey, can we get down there? Hey, let's get another unit over here, behold.
So I think it'd be really interesting to see what happens at today's event. You know, there's going to be media there, likely the same media that watched the video. It's going to be difficult for them to say that these heinous things happened to him in our custody when we know, in fact, none of that happened.
Did they cover up his head and they were just still beating him? Did they choke him to death? What did they do?
So in that time, so you said you wanted to know what happened in that 30 minutes. Police are telling us that in that 30-minute period while they were searching for him, they had no contact with him. That's why the video doesn't exist. They only found him. And that's what we saw yesterday.
I don't believe that to be the case. I don't believe that to be true.
Are you insinuating that there's possibly a whole conspiracy involving the entire department and the coroner's office?
Yes. Everybody here who want to know what happened, that's what I'm here for. I want some justice, I want some peace, and I want to know the real story, and in video cams, I want to see the whole video cam. I don't want to see no cut versions, I don't want to see anything like that. I want to see the whole video cam recording.
No justice, no peace, what's been going on. It's been police brutality, it's been all that's going on with the black against the white people. It's nothing new. Y'all know about this, it's been in history books. So ain't no justice, no peace, as simple as that.
What do you think the role of body cameras are? In this case, it seems like they're being used to show your narrative of a certain situation.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily our narrative. I mean, it is what occurred, right? So, I mean, the body-worn camera is very good evidence of what happened out there. So there is a transparency aspect to it. There's an accountability aspect to it.
Some people are just going to live in this polarized world where they want to continue to make it like us versus them in a narrative situation, and that's just not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to jump to conclusions. We're not trying to steer anyone else into conclusions. We just want to show it, and it is what happened.
And this could work against us too. I mean, you could have one that was bad, and it wouldn't be our narrative of how either. It would just be this is what occurred. I mean, it's ugly, and sooner or later, someday we will have an ugly one. I mean, some officer is going to make a bad decision someday, and it's going to be ugly. But you know, it can happen.
still feeling okay? Are you feeling dizzy at all? Anything like that?
No.
Okay, well, we haven't. You hear the fire engine's coming right now, okay? They're gonna get you all bandaged up, all right?
Okay.
I promise they're gonna take care of you, okay? Where do you live at?
Right there at the light.
You live on Bancroft?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to you right now?
Yeah, I fell.
You fell? Did you get hit by a car or did you fall?
No, I just fell.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, how did you fall?
I don't know.
It's car versus Ped. She thinks she fell, but she actually got hit by a car. Okay. Okay, and what was your okay.
I know you're all right. That nigga in that black Benz hit you? Hold on.
Hey, you better relax right now.
Man,
Relax.
Man, I'm not doing
okay, why you gotta approach him like that? Relax.
For real?
Okay? Hey, Tech 4-1, can we get one more unit over here, please?
Charge the fuck you find this, you boy.
The victim's brother's on scene and he's not cooperative.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck about you, nigga. Matter of fact,
hey. Two Tech 4-1, he just took off running westbound.
Any description?
Male, black in pajama pants, no shirt, bald. Extremely confrontational.
Take it one more unit straight over to this 911.
Do you have your ID on you or not, sir?
I just had it. I just gave it to the officer.
Does he have it still? Or?
Oh, here you go, right here. I just, man.
It's fine. The guy wasn't really happy with you. I said her brother wasn't very happy with you.
Yeah. But like I said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm right here, you know what I'm saying? I stopped and pulled over. So, I ain't do nothing wrong. I'm standing and deal with it like a man. You know what I'm saying? Right here, I ain't running.
The female was transported in we're code 4 right now. Her brother left. He hasn't come back in.
Like where that bald officer?
Like that 1042?
Where was she at? Was she in the crosswalk?
No, she was over here on the street. I had already turned back.
Is he coming back?
Yeah, he's coming back. Where is he?
And you look on this, there's going to be about 15 people out here. One's going to be a male black 20s with a white shirt, blue jeans.
Hey, this is the guy that's giving us problems that's walking up right now. Hey, are you with somebody here? Yeah, he's the one that, he's going to give us problems.
There's a large group of them. A lot of them are wearing white tees. We still land where we can get a better script. There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, sorry, 2 Tech 4-1. Can you just have our unit step it up to code 3, please?
904, 2824, and
24 copy, code 3.
Hey, your sister's going to the hospital. Okay?
That nigga going to the hospital too.
Hey, back up. Back up. You ain't sending nobody to the hospital, okay? What did we say? What did we say? Okay, you're not sending nobody to the hospital, okay?
I ain't did shit.
Okay.
I got my hands up. I can't breathe.
Okay, what do you want from us?
I want shit from you.
Okay, you're not gonna go and attack nobody, okay?
Right.
So what's your plan?
Ain't nothing my plan.
Okay, then walk away.
For sure.
west side. Hey, 2A24 to the west of 5368 Bancroft. I need one more unit en route.
Go. Leave.
23 en route.
You're not going to attack nobody. You're leaving.
Okay, 1953, we want him to walk away, so 938, that last one. We want him to walk away. Copy.
904, this is going to be the brother, male black bald, no shirt. 2824, you copy? 243E, that's coming in at 394-236.
Hey, sir, don't move. Drop what's in your hand.
Whether it's hundreds of a second or seconds, the more time I have to assess what this guy popped, what was it he popped around the corner with?
I couldn't tell, sir, honestly.
Thought it was a purse. Thought it was a purse? You couldn't tell?
From the back, sir.
Could it have been a gun?
Hey, get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Could you have warned him? Because we are obligated, if practical and feasible, to give that warning. What could you have said?
Sir, get back or I'm gonna tase you. You comply with my order.
And that's what you should do, right? Give him every opportunity to go along with the program. Man, if I can end up pointing the taser at somebody and that just mere presence alone gets them to comply, it's a win-win, right? They don't get hurt and I don't have to use force on them. This is getting you used to being under stress, reacting under stress. So you have to have your game sharp from day one. There is no timeout, no ceasefire, no redos, no remediations, no mulligans, no nothing. It is what it is. Be prepared for that day.
Breaking news that we are following for you tonight. Police investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting. It happened in Oakland, and one person has been killed.
Oakland police say that uniformed officers were in the area because they were towing cars related to sideshow activity.
Lo mataron por nada, nomás iba caminando. Lo mataron por nada, los placas a uno que iba caminando ahí. They just shot this nigga. For nothing, man. Fuck that, shoot him for. Killing motherfuckers for no reason. Fuck that, y'all killed him. Y'all killed him. Bitch ass nigga. What you gonna shoot? What you gonna shoot? What you gonna shoot? Faggot. Si miran al policía de negro.
We had a very, very large number of cars, at one point totaling close to 700 vehicles that were engaging in sideshow activity in East Oakland. At one point, officers stopped a group of motorcycles near 90th and Bancroft. They had cited individuals on the motorcycles and were in the process of towing this group of motorcycles. Well after the stop had occurred and while the officers were completing paperwork and waiting for tow trucks, an individual, a 39-year-old male, approached the group of police officers and pulled out a pistol from their waistband and pointed it in the general direction of the officers. The group of officers then scattered, and 4 officers discharged their firearms at the person with the pistol. The person was struck by the gunfire and fell there at the scene. Our officers began to do CPR in an attempt to resuscitate the person. Unfortunately, he did die at the scene there. And it was only really at that time that officers recognized that the firearm the person had was in fact a replica pistol.
What could you tell us about the subject of the officer-involved shooting? Where was he from, his age, anything you can tell us, and what do you think his involvement was?
Our last contact with him was several months ago during an arrest. We do not believe that he was associated with the motorcycles at all, and we don't know at this time why he did what he did.
And what was the contact, several months ago?
It was a warrant arrest. All right. What else are they going to ask?
I'll probably ask about our total OASs for the year.
So this is the 7th and 5th fatal. Right.
The fatal ones that we've had have been pretty violent confrontations that have turned. So, and the way they've brought it to the officer.
Did the officers have body cams on and were they deployed?
None of the officers had body-worn cameras activated at the time, but that would not be unusual because they were filling out paperwork and talking when this happened. They weren't on a stop. One was a sergeant with 7 years experience. The other 3 were police officers with experience ranging from 6 months to 18 months. So all relatively new police officers involved in the incident.
$27 copy.
If we take somebody's life, it's the most serious thing that the government can do to somebody. And it's being done without judicial review or any of that. It's all split second. It happens. We're going to look into the criminal aspect of whatever the suspect was doing that led to the police contact, and was it a crime for the police officer to then use force? Should that force have happened? It would be a tremendous shame to have gone through all the reform tasks over a span of 12 years and then go back to the way we were before. You have to get this right. It's too important. It's too important.
Press conference just wrapped up a short time ago. Mayor Libby Schaaf was there. Also, the police chief, Sean Went, was there. And this all is regarding allegations of sexual misconduct by Oakland police officers. Specifically, they're focusing on allegations of sexual misconduct with a minor.
This all started in February of 2015 when she was running from her pimp, she says, and an officer with the Oakland Police Department saved her, in her words. Rather than taking her to jail, they started a romance, she says, and from there, that officer introduced her to other officers and a network of cop customers was made.
We will not tolerate criminal misconduct on the part of our police officers. We will hold them accountable. We owe that to the residents of Oakland.
We know that this department needs to be the trusted guardians of the community, and we cannot do it with this type of cloud over the department.
Some of the officers would pay her for sex and pay her by tipping her off to prostitution stings.
Sources say investigators believe she's had sex with potentially dozens of police officers, beginning when she was 16.
Several officers could be charged with statutory rape.
This case has angered a federal judge who is overseeing department reforms.
He says this incident and the handling of it is a step back for Chief Wynn.
As someone who has worked and lived in Oakland since 1969, I am disgusted and amazed by the Oakland Police Department.
Officers sworn to protect and serve raped and trafficked a teenage girl from my community.
We are out here saying that OPD is guilty of statutory rape, and the whole department needs to be held accountable. Whether you were directly engaged in having sex with a minor, or even if you just knew about it, you need to be held accountable.
Good morning. Last night we received the resignation of our police chief, Sean Went, effective today.
When people resign, they give 2 weeks notice, 1 month's notice. I mean, people don't just walk off the job, especially somebody's in charge of 700, 800 people department. I mean, this looks like someone got pushed out.
The decision to resign was the chief's. I think it's very important to be clear that Chief Went has never been a subject of the investigation of sexual misconduct in this department.
The chief promised that he would move the department closer, actually, to complete compliance with the NSA. So the question would be, did he accomplish that?
And I believe that this Chief Went, did move the city of Oakland closer to compliance with our negotiated settlement agreement. This department, under his leadership, has received national recognition for its strides to move towards truly principled, community-based policing. Things like our body-worn camera program, our procedural justice training, as well as our participation in transparent, open data. The department is now seen as a leader in these areas, and that all occurred under the leadership of Chief Went, and I'm very appreciative to him for everything he has done for this department.
And at this time, I want to introduce Ben Farrow, our interim chief.
Good morning. Good morning. It's an honor and a privilege to be here this morning.
Now, while the city conducts a national search for a new chief, the mayor has appointed Ben Farrow the interim chief.
Yes, Natasha, a lot of questions. I'm holding Sean Went's resignation letter in my hand. In it, he talks about the progress that was made under his watch, the nearly 40% decline in shootings and homicides in the past 3 years. And then he goes on to say, quote, "I believe the timing is good for me to move on and to explore other opportunities."
Temperature 25, 11-1A.
I'm on scene. I was close by. I didn't see anything.
No, 4. We're still interviewing your victim, and he was hit over the head, medical's en route.
My life is in danger.
I understand the 20.
Me and my life is in danger. Right. 904. Can I get additional units, sister? I got 2 young kids in here. Like, it's just, it's too much. Suspect is armed, still waiting for further details. We're going to send it 1-1. Is there any unit that can bring for this priority in District 5 on 34?
Yeah, 2 out of 34 is going to be en route.
So I have a restraining order on him, and he has broken my window.
Yeah, suspect's on there.
Caller saying the suspect is still on scene.
As you all know, a few weeks ago, a young woman, it was revealed that OPD had raped and trafficked a young woman. And we had a really visceral reaction to that as an organization. We sort of felt like we've been saying enough is enough for so long, right? So a coalition came together, which is now being called the Take Back Oakland Coalition. And what's unique about this coalition is that it's a wide mix of people, right? It's grassroots organizations, it's some legal folks, it's nonprofits, it's ministers, it's just people that are just angry and sick and tired. And so the first demand is to create a civilian police commission.
Who is in control of use of force policy? Who is in control of use of force review? Who is responsible for disciplining officers, and who gets to set the parameters for that discipline? We're going to push for a police review body that is actually by and for the people and accountable to the people.
We do not believe there are good cops. We do not believe that police departments can actually be reformed. We do not believe that policing in this country will ever work for us. And so one of the things that we talk about is, what does 21st century community safety look like, right? And what we talk about is that we've got to start having brave and courageous conversations about this system will never work for us, ever, ever, ever. It don't work for anyone. It don't work for poor white people either, right? It's not working. It's never going to work.
I absolutely have to say, this is my first meeting, and I disagree with you guys when you say that there are no good cops. Like, I'll stand up in front of anybody and say that I absolutely disagree with that, because if I'm thinking that there's no hope, then why in the fuck am I even here? Like, I need to think that there is hope, and I also know, I'll tell every one of you that there are some good cops out there, and those are the ones that we need to support.
But the question you gotta ask yourself when you talk about the good cop or the bad cop, right, is if you are an officer and you may not be engaging in atrocities against the community like rape, like murder, right? But you are around that and you know the people that are committing those atrocities and you're not saying anything, are you good?
That said, right, we have to figure out what we do with right now, right? And right now, we have to figure out how we stem the tide of black and brown bodies that are falling all over this country, just a little bit.
This is one vehicle that we have to rein in this violence that we're experiencing at the hands of the police. Because essentially, we could be writing the policy for a civilian police review body that is going to govern and control this police department. The idea is not new. The question is whether we have the moment in history right now and the collective will to actually make what's been a people's demand for 50 years into a lived reality.
went from assistant chief of the Oakland Police Department, now you're acting chief, and I don't even think that's 2 hours cold. So not only are you changing your position, you're changing your role, you have stop data rollout, and we have all the other things which I'm just about to throw on your plate. The previous chief we had lined up to address lineup with the officers that went out to the shooting, 13th and Franklin last night. Is there any way that maybe we can loop in? Well, it was at 2:15, so we've kind of missed our window just because of the transition and the change. If we'd be able to plug you in, because not only are you managing all these things or these moving parts, but because of so many of those officers were young that went to that shooting, we can plug you in just to. Sounds good.
Good evening. As the mayor of Oakland, I am here to run a police department, not a frat house. Today continues to be a day where we are sharing disturbing information with you. First, we want to announce that we are close to the end of an investigation of racist text messages. We do think it's relevant to share that the text messages were sent by African American officers, but they are wholly inappropriate and not acceptable from anyone who wears the badge of the Oakland Police Department. Also today, Acting Chief Figueroa resigned from his duties as acting chief and as assistant chief of police. He has gone on leave and has asked to return, as is his right, in the position of captain. This matter is not related to these texts. It is also not related to the sex scandal. I will not be appointing another acting chief. Instead, the command staff of the Oakland Police Department will be reporting to the city administrator, Sabrina Landreth. I feel that this is an appropriate time to place civilian oversight over this police department and to send a very clear message about how serious we are of not tolerating misconduct, unethical behavior, and to root out what is clearly a toxic macho culture. I want to assure the citizens of Oakland that we are hell-bent on rooting out this disgusting culture and holding those accountable, responsible for their misdeeds.
If you're talking about a systemic culture of kind of toxic macho behavior, how do you actually try to change a culture? Obviously, there's good cops and bad cops, but when you're talking about a systemic culture, that's a big deal.
During your discussions, many discussions, I assume, over the past week with Robert Warshaw, has he provided any indication to you that he may push to have total federal receivership of Oakland Police Department?
Mayor Chef, what does it say that we are now in the 13th year of federal reform and we're talking about rooting out a culture of a toxic, macho, disgusting culture that was basically the same culture that led to these federal reforms? This is 13 years later. This is, at the moment, the longest running federal oversight of a police department in the United States.
I believe the problem of a toxic macho culture is not unique to the Oakland Police Department. It is not unique even to policing. That is all I have tonight. Thank you so much.
We're going to start with a police department seriously in turmoil this morning.
We're talking about the city of Oakland, California.
Oakland finds itself in this situation after losing 3 chiefs in 9 days.
Mayor Schaaf also said that she has no plans right now to appoint another interim chief.
Well, this department is starting to feel to a lot of people like a house of cards.
They were not honest about the values they say they represent. They covered up corruption. So we say to Oakland Police Department, you are guilty, and we will no longer participate with your conspiracy. We are going to pull this system down through the power of nonviolent direct action.
Shut it down! Shut it down!
And if you refuse to do what is right, we will pull down your department brick by brick.
And so the ability to effectively make sure that we have accountability for those officers who are not serving our public well, we need to establish a system outside of the police department to do that.
We want you to help us to fix this community, to fix the system. Protect and serve us from the inside by calling out corruption, by calling out racism, by calling out crime on the inside. We cannot see everything that goes on behind those doors, but you can.
Where is trust? There's no relationship without trust.
Now, since you have failed after 13 years, we're saying we're willing to do it. We got to go outside the police department to get a chief. True independence must be in place.
That badge is important, right? That badge is really important. You earned it. You deserve to wear it. You did your 26 weeks. You're gonna graduate on Friday, you're gonna earn your badge. Stand up for me. You came here with something. You came here with something. You're gonna leave with something. And what is that? What did you come with? What's on this uniform that you came with? That's yours. We didn't give it to you. Huh? This is who you are. This is who you are. How are people gonna remember that? What is your legacy gonna be? You're gonna start Friday building a legacy of who you are. Who are you gonna be? Are you gonna be the cop that people talk about, the dirty cop that does things that he shouldn't do? You're gonna be the one that's unprofessional that people talk about, oh man, I can't stand when he comes. I can't stand when she comes. They're assholes. Who you gonna be? You heard the stories before. You've heard of dirty cops before. You heard of nasty cops that are assholes, haven't you? You heard of them, but who you gonna be? What's your legacy gonna be? What you're doing is a noble cause. It's a noble profession. You're doing a great thing. You can't put your life on the line every day. You come here every day not knowing if you're gonna make it home or not. You can't put your life on the line every day and it not mean anything. What's your legacy gonna be? How you gonna represent your family? How you gonna represent yourself? And then how you gonna represent the police department? That's what you have to ask yourself. When you out there and you thinking about misbehaving, when you out there and you let your emotions get the best of you, I want you to think about that. Are people gonna remember the way you treated them? Are people gonna remember that you helped them? Is your name gonna mean something to them?
Units for an international, 8 for an international. Heartbeat heard 1 loud gunshot. Also vehicle speeding off, possibly on international towards the lower avenues. Nothing else heard or seen on 844.
Shirt was all with a knife in front of the club. That's what trying to stab another guy.